Hello, everyone. I'm Jasmine, and I'm from Taiwan. I'm a representative from Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition, and today I'm the moderator for this session called Generational Equity Through the Lens of Youth and Corporate Responsibility. So this is me. I'm Taiwanese, and I'm a university student, junior year. I was a sustainability club leader, and now I'm in Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition, which is the first environmental youth organization in Taiwan, established in 2012. And its aim is to provide a platform for youth in Taiwan to diffuse knowledge, find partners, and make changes. Our project range from international cooperation and to climate negotiations to local action. And we're very thankful for Taiwan Climate Partnership to provide this pavilion for us to hold this event. Taiwan Climate Partnership was founded by 8 leading tech companies in Taiwan. I don't know if you have heard of TSMC, which is a Taiwanese chip company, and one of other 8 leading tech companies are ASUS, Acer, Delta Electronics, etc. And their coalition is to aim to advocate for reducing carbon emission and reach net zero goal within these high-tech companies. So we're very thankful for our Taiwan Climate Partnership. And if you want to follow Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition, you can follow our Instagram or Facebook page. So what does it mean to achieve intergenerational equity? So during COP, I've heard from a video which is a young girl talking to the world leaders. And the question that she asked the world leader summarizes the essence of intergenerational equity. She said, "You may only have some years left, but what do we have left?" Intergenerational equity in its essence is a call to balance, a delicate equilibrium between meeting the needs of today's generation without compromising the ability for future generations when they want to meet their own needs. And it is also a notion to view the human community as a partnership among all generations, past, present, and future. It is a form of distributive justice, where present generations hold an obligation towards future generations. Like a saying from indigenous people, they say, "We borrow our lands from the future generation." Children around the world are growing up in an uncertain world where messages of doom and gloom about climate change often dominate the media, the public discourse. We youth, children are and will be impacted by environmental determinants, and it will influence the ways that current and previous generations have not experienced. A recent study from IPCC 2022, a report has found that children born now are 2 to 7 times more likely to experience extreme climate events compared to those born in 1960s. And so we will face more stress, more anxiety in the future. As we stand in an era defined by rapid growth and the advancement of technology, global collaboration and business leaders, they hold a unique power and responsibility. The corporate world will be and is becoming beyond just profit-driven ventures. Today, businesses are not only economic entities, but also stewards of social and environmental capital. Leaders who realize the link between business success and sustainability practices are better positioned to contributing to intergenerational equity. And the key is collaboration between young people, businesses, and governments. They must come together to share this commitment to address this global challenge. So in this event, we invited business leader and youths together to explore the critical theme of generational equity with specific focus on youth's perspective. This forum's intention is to provide businesses to deepen their understanding of youth's demand on generational equity. So we invited 3 speakers from different perspectives, different backgrounds to share their point of view of how world leaders, business leaders can become good ancestors. We also invited the CEO of Taiwan Climate Partnership to give us some concrete examples of how business and corporations can help to support youth in achieving this transition towards greener system. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the first speaker called Yun Fang. She volunteers in Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition as well. And she is also currently employed at Green Citizens Action Alliance, NGO, where her primary role involves working on local government net zero policy. And she is also have been part of Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition for some time in advocacy department. And now she's here at one of the COP28. Hi, delegate. With her experiences in grassroots climate action advocacy in Taiwan, she'll share her insights and personal observations on Taiwan's business, internal and external responsibility towards youth. So let's welcome Yun Fang. Yay.
Hi everyone. Hope you're doing great this morning. Yes. So although Jasmine already helped me introduce myself, but maybe I'll just still give you a little bit information of me. Yeah, I'm recently working in Green Citizen Action Alliance and as a coordinator. And like actually I'm not graduated yet, but I just quit my school for a year and just going to devote myself to the society to know more about what I want for my future. And I've been as a TWIC member since 2020. And I used to be in the advocacy working group, which I follow the climate adaptation and mitigation law in Taiwan. And now, yeah, I'm from National Chengchi University, and I study Spanish. That is pretty have no connection with climate change. But I think like every youth, that no matter what your background is, you can just devote yourself into the issue. And now like I'm COPE, so I joined Youngo, and I'm in the Just Transition working group now. So the thing that I'm going to share about is about the business's responsibilities towards youth. And I want to talk about it in internal and external way. Before that, I want to share you an assessment. Is called Just Transition Assessment. That's they assess those companies that do how they are working with their employees to make their internal just transition well. So according to this assessment, they have 6 indicator. First one is does it have the social dialogue and stakeholders engagement during their just transition pathway. And the second, do they really have their just transition planning? And the third one is about like they have to create and provide support access to green and decent jobs. And the fourth one is about retaining and upskilling workers. And the fourth is about social protection and social impact management. Like you know that every company it's surrounded by a neighborhood, so there might be if the company is going to do some transition, the neighborhood might be in fact yes. And then it's the 6th one is advocacy for policy and regulation on greens and decent job creations, and also employee retention, education and reskilling, and social protection supporting a just transition. So now I'm going to talk about because before this assessment is in a very general way. So what is my perspective as a youth? For me, the most important is the company has to have the just transition planning, and this just transition planning it must be like transparent. The employees have to know what's this company is going to plan. Like there's used to be a workshop a few months ago in Taiwan. That's the workshop. We invite a lot of employees and also trade union to this workshop and ask about, do they know their company's just transition planning? but most of them, they just don't know what's their company going to be. And in this condition, the employees, they won't know what abilities or capacity they have to build during this transition. And next one is about capacity building. The capacity building for me, it's not only about skills for the company, it's more about, there's also about like the concept of why this company is going to have a transition. Because like no one likes to change. They have to know why the world is changing and why this company is going to change. And after this kind of capacity building, they know why this companies they will become support for this company after they know about the stories of it. And also, like, we're facing a lot of conflict during the whole country, whole society transition. That's also because people don't know why are we changing. They don't know why how serious is the climate change. Yes, and after the capacity building, it's going to be it will be the engagements of the workers will be higher, and it's going to be more useful because they know why are they doing. They might have new thoughts about it, especially for youth. Like, for example, in the Yango global youth statements, they also written about like we cannot we should take the Latin of youth like seriously, because we are youth and the angle that we see the world is different from the older people. Yes, so I think it's very important. And I want to use the example in Taiwan, that's how the workers are actually facing the transition. So according to the 2021 the carbon dioxide emission in energy sector, there's actually energy industry for 71% and the manufacturers for 13%. And when you look at the energy using industry, there's actually fossil fuel that, I don't know if you know about the Formosa plastic. Yeah. And there's also others companies that's still doing fossil fuels stuffs. Yes. And also we are known about, people know us about those electronic for those chips, and they're also like very energy using enterprises. So, which means that there's actually a lot of people that is inside this industries and going to impact taking those impulsive very soon. And I would like to show that and there's the investments of youth from 15 to 29 in different sector. For example, in agriculture sector, there's 4.73, and which means like actually we are the country like lack of the workforce of agriculture. And the other are industrial sector, that's 35%. And these are the people that's going to face with the transition. And inside this industrial sector, there's also manufacturer sector and constructive sector, especially for the manufacturer sector. The process of doing those production is going to change. How are they going to face those changes? And also their service sectors. Yes, for most of us are doing the service sectors. And sorry, there's a Mandarin. I'm a little bit lazy to translate it. Yes, okay. So this is the Just Transition Assessment in 2021. And they actually have the points of the Formosa. This one is the Formosa Plastic. And this is the Thai Power Company. And this one is the, I forgot the name of it, petroleum, Chinese petroleum. And they actually have given the point of it. And you can also see BP and RWE. Oh shoot, I forgot the English of it. Okay, World Trade, and you can tell the point that actually Taiwan have a long way to go to have the like real just transition, those just transition planning. So maybe if you're interested, you can also look on this this assessment, and you will know that maybe in your countries, how is the companies doing so far. So this is the part of my internal responsibilities. And the next is about external responsibilities. That's like in Taiwan, mostly like every companies we talk about ESG, environmental, social, and governments. And the part that have the most connection with us with youth is the social parts. That's those companies want to find youth and do have some collaboration with youth. And there are some ways that methods that I come up with. Like there are some companies, they will hold competitions for youth to make like, it's a way to do the capacity buildings, and also grant for youth actions. For example, the clubs of Green Earth in the Jasmine, the one that Jasmine was in, they sometimes the companies will come and they say, okay, I'll give you money and you will do, like there will be the company's name on these activities. Yes. And other is about forums and having dialogues with the youth and to know about what really youth wants, perhaps. And for this external responsibility, for in my opinion, is a good way. But I think there's one thing that the company have to prevent from. Is the thing that you have to prevent from youth wash. Oh shit. There's okay, washing. That's washing. Sorry. Okay, typing mistake. Is prevent from youth washing. Actually, this issue come up with me for like several years. Like I have been volunteer in Taiwan Youth Climate Coalition for 4 years, and this issue come with me for 2 years. Like I don't know why we're invited to those policy public hearings. Like we're invited, but they just give us some people just give us the things that we should say, or maybe they just invite us to join some meeting, or like we're just a decoration up there, and that makes me very confused. That's why are we there? Is this really youth engagement? And now I'm here in COPE, and this word youth washing like come to me like, okay, this is the thing that I'm really facing about. So this idea, this youth washing is about the idea of inviting young people to events with an important event, while refusing to give them a place they deserve in the debate and decision-making processes. And there's a sentence that I heard yesterday that's in the Spanish pavilion that they are also talking about youth washing, is that like every of our engagement is important. Like we shouldn't be there and do nothing. It's we have to try and do something. Like for me, every invitation is actually a chance. Although it might be youth washing, there's still be some possibility that we can break it through and do something there. So I hope that like everyone here can have a chance to break through the youth washing and really do something in no matter what kind of opportunities. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Yunfang, for pointing out the importance of just transition for youth, because in the future, if your education is based on the economy that we are going to abandon, if your education is based on that, it will not have a just transition in the future to equip you to a greener system. And also, thank you for pointing out about youth washing and what it means to youth. Oh, yeah. Okay. Next, we'll invite Jerome from Benin, a country in West Africa, which has one of the highest young youth population. Jerome is a passionate representative from several initiatives as well. He's part of the Global Young Greens, who has experience in building expertise in biodiversity and climate change, leading him to become a consultant. Not only this, He's also from the Benin Youth Parliament for Water, a network to make the right to water and sanitation a reality in Benin, while giving youth the opportunity to realize and reinforce their capacity to intervene and advocate for the action in favor of water and sanitization. With his rich experience in wildlife conservation, climate change capacity building skills, we invite Jerome to provide insights on what intergenerational equity means to him. Please welcome him. Sure.
So hello everyone. I'm be happy to be here in front of you to discuss about Benin Youth perspective on the inclusion of new voice. Okay, I'm Akoboyan Jerome Do from Benin in West Africa. I'm biodiversity and climate change consultant, and I'm here at COP28 with Global New Green Delegation at COP28, and I'm one of departmental coordinator of Benin Youth Parliament for Water. So my presentation is about a brief presentation of Global New Green and Benin Youth Parliament for Water. Just one overview on generation equity and youth inclusion and youth inclusion in Benin, and our perspective and one call to action. So Global New Green is an emerging global organization supporting and consolidate the efforts of young people working toward ecological durability through protecting and restoring the environment and respecting animals. The second one is social justice, who is trying to improve the intergenerational justice and also to try to increase the no discrimination on any ground and equality for all. The third one is democracy grassroots, who try to make a popular participatory and global democracy is particularly empowering young people and maybe try to have more than people in any decision making. Here is about a peace. We don't never talk about climate change and try to forget a peace. When we don't have a peace or we don't have more than a better climate, we will have maybe a war. So we work with our organization to have peaceful, non-military conflict and armed control and disarmament. So the Global New Green in joint projects of our 90 youth organization and 100 of individual include the Federation of Young European Green, the Asia Pacific Young Green Network, the Cooperation and Development Network Eastern in Europe, and also the Young Volunteer for the Environment and many other. So the Global Young Green is a network that includes 4 federations in Africa, in America, and in Asia, Pacific, and Europe. And the federation has a total of more than 80 member organizations from all over the world. So Global New Green have 5 objectives. The first objective is about how to empower young people within the framework of participatory democracy. The second one is to create a space for young people to be active without being dominated by older generation, who is about generation equity. The third one is to address inequality between organization and individual. Sometimes we will see in one organization, for example, or one company, the all decision come from the head of manager, of I don't know, the main directory and the head of resources management and the head of financial resources management, for example. then they never considered the voice of youth in their decision making. It's not so good for us. So we also try to form a strong link between sector and organization. And the last one is to further green principle on planet Earth. Now, I want to present you the Benin Youth Parliament for Water, who also represent at COP28 with some member who is here with me. The Benin Youth Parliament for Water is non-political, non-profit association of young volunteers committing to the cause of water and sanitation also in Benin. It's one of the national chapter of World Youth Water Parliament. It's set up for the first time in Benin in 2015. And last have 65 parliamentary for water, hygiene, and sanitation across 12 departments in Benin. Our vision is to try to have one network who improve the skill of young people in water and sanitation in Benin. The second one is to contribute to making rights to water, hygiene, sanitation, and reality in our community through capacity building for young people and the implementation of inclusive initiative. So in this case, for example, we never try to work without try to include the young people, gender equality, and so forth and so on. Don't leave someone and try to just work with the same people every time. The third one is our value. Our value is commitment. We are social. We are inclusion and integrity. In our member or the head of this network, we have I don't know 5 women in the head of our delegation and 4 men. So that is a inclusion, equity, and gender equality also. And the last one is a professional. We are very big professional in water resources management. So one of a view on generational equity and inclusion. International equity refers to the equity between the old generation and that who recognize that the effects of climate change of the past and present emission, vulnerability, and policy impose costs and benefits on people in the future and across our generation. But now we know that the young people are the most vulnerable and most affected by climate change. And all sector who is being affected by climate change, you will see a young people. You will see a gender equality on it. But now, young people must represent the transition between the current generation and the future generation. And our call for voice is to be representative and taken into account in a participatory, iterative, and inclusive way to try to represent the new voice in our policy making and decision making. Is very important. And the Paris Agreement also recognizes this and refer to action for climate empowerment. With IM is to empowerment all members of society, of the social background, try to engage in climate action through education and public awareness, the training, public participation, and access to information and international cooperation in this area. I think Jasmine and Jung also told about this in the presentation. So in Benin, with our political, we must to work to against the effect of climate change in our country. We have 8 sectors, or I don't know, 8 fields who will be very big affected by climate change, like energy, water, agricultural, forestry, health, and so forth and so on. And now, what's the Benin government doing to against climate change? They try, first of all, to try to have a policy about each issue, but they have many big policy. First one is our national policy to policy to manage the climate change. That is one. And the second one is our national contribution, determinate contribution, NDC, with NDC partnership also. And the third one, for example, is our national plan of adaptation to climate change. But it's not just the all document or policy that Benin try to make or design to against effect of climate change. But in these all document, we have in center of all document or all policy Benin try to design about climate change issue. That is inclusion of new in all decision making and all policy design or making. But it's not all. The Benin try to involve the new in our decision making, in all decision making and in all policy making. The one initiative, for example, is our program whose name is Jeune Délégué du Bénin. Is that new Benin delegate for climate COP, for example. For every COP, Benin try to have some guy, maybe 4, 3, I don't know, 8 and 10, who can represent the youth of Benin at COP. We are now our second edition, and the first edition is like this guy, for example, who is here. Like this, who is there? We are. There is a 4. Me, I'm between the 4 delegates, young delegates from Benin. One is our communication headquarter of Benin Youth Parliament for Water, who has a lot of skill on how we can improve gender equality on climate change action. And the second edition tried to have 8 delegates to represent Benin at COP28. A role is to represent the Benin youth at COP. The second one is to represent Benin youth at climate negotiation. And the third one is to training, informing, and taking over from the present and future generation. So now our perspective is to try to involve the new engagement, the new awareness, and how to include really is not a theoretical, but really not blah, 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 but really try to include youth in policy making and all decision making. So we want to strengthen young people's skill in understanding climate issue. What is climate exactly? What is the truth of climate change? We are youth, but all youth don't never understand the truth of climate change, for example. All young don't never understand the impact of climate change, for example. So that is very important to strengthen the skill to understand what is climate change and how to act to protect us. The second one is to try to include young people in the collection and availability of data or information for the development of policy and strategical documents. The third one is to strengthen young people capacity to draw policy and contribute to climate change decision making. The fourth one is include environmental and climate change education in our primary school education to try to change the mindset, to change the behavior of young people when they have maybe is not big but is a very kind or try to understand directly what is climate change, what is our environment, and how to protect it. The last one is actively involve young people in climate negotiation with maybe example of young Benin youth delegate at COP, for example. That is a very big example to involve the young people in climate negotiation. So that is my perspective, the Benin perspective or Benin youth perspective about how to include youth voice in climate action and how to include youth voice to climate negotiation or all policy making and all decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome, for sharing about your experiences on the organizations you're in and how the organization and your country contribute to including more youth voices in their policy making processes and the importance of capacity building and being aware of how climate change will affect your future on youth. And next, we'll introduce Angela Liang, who's a friend we met from Youngo Just Transition Working Group. My impression on her is that she is a very strong woman who emphasizes science-based perspective. And as a PhD candidate specializing in Earth system science, which delves into the in quantifying the impact of sea levels, Angela also has a passion for science diplomacy and evidence-based policy. She currently serves as a science and technology advisor at Open Dialogues International Foundation and showcasing her commitment to bridging the gap between science and global policy. So please welcome Angela, a youth leader shaping the future of climate science and advocacy.
Sorry, just wait a minute. Which one is yours?
It's too tall for me. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Angela. Today I'm going to talk about, so Jasmine already gave a very nice introduction about me. So I will not go over that, repeat that. I'm going to talk about the youth perspective on achieving intergenerational equity from more like a science perspective of myself, but also youth too. So I'm going to start with some pictures and then we can reflect on these pictures. So this is a fishing, I think it's a fishing competition from Florida, from Key West. And then this is a photo taken in 1957, so nearly 70 years ago. And then look at the size of the fish compared to the human over there. And I'm going to show you next photo. This is in 2007. Do you see the size of the fish? It's very different from human. Same location. So now we put these photos together and then you can compare them. This after 50 years, okay? These photos is taken 50 years apart. People from 2007 generation, they do not get to eat big fish. So that one question rise from this photo is, do you think it is fair for the younger generation in 2007 that, to have smaller fish compared to 50 years ago? So that's where we start. Before that, I want to introduce a concept. It's called the tragedy of the commons. Have you heard about this concept? If you heard about this concept, please raise your hand. Okay, not many. So the tragedy of commons, this is actually what it forms the basis of climate change, because we have a common thing. Let's say in this picture, it's the grass, that we do not put regulation or we do not put any limit on how to use this grass. So everyone who comes here, no matter you come here early or no matter you come here later, you just use whatever you want to use, especially for the ships that comes early. They can eat more than the ships that comes later, right? So in our climate change issues, this is the same. Atmosphere, ocean, our land, our forest, this is all common good. Going into science education for youth empowerment, I think the person from Benin, our last speaker, he talked about the education and capacity building, right? I'm going to talk about this with the science education. I feel like science to educate youth, it will give the young generations a really good empowerment. So first, why science is so important? Because science is a common language to connect with people from different backgrounds, people from different cultures. Like no matter which country you are from, it's when you do the experiment, it's going to give you the same result. This is the beauty of science. And then the second thing is, it is a very powerful tool to use in the policy making process. It presents itself as a really strong argument. Of course, science is not the only factor that determine a policy in the end. However, when you present science correctly, it's going to give you a very strong argument. I'm currently actually helping my friend. She is a Liberia delegate, and then she is negotiating on the just transition topic. And science actually support just transition. We can talk about more on how science support just transition later, but I am helping her to draft the text for Liberia, for African country, for G77. When you present science strongly in here, it's really leaving the developed countries nothing to say. And yeah, we had a good start. Now it's the negotiation process where the negotiators take out pieces from the words. But yeah, I feel like I did my part really well. So the third bullet point, the youth and future generation can be empowered by not only the scientific knowledge for capacity building, but also when you learn science, when you have scientific trainings, there are many transferable skills that you can have from your science training. For example, you can research a topic independently. Like I am not a PhD. My PhD topic actually focuses on NASA satellite data analysis, and then I'm looking at glaciers and ice sheet. However, with the transferable skills I get from my science degrees, I can actually just look at IPCC, and then I read it, I understand it, and then I can talk on behalf of science for just transition or other topics. So this, with scientific trainings, this can actually foster a younger generation of informed decision makers and problem solvers. So these science training people, they can go into policy making field in the future too. This is actually in United States, because I live in United States right now. We call it science policy and science diplomacy. This is a newly created concept. I think it started from Europe, especially science diplomacy. We want to use more science in the policy making process. So lastly, this is just a little bit more about me. I have many degrees in science, and currently I am a science advisor for this NGO, and I'm a science policy scholar for the AAAS. It's the American Association for Advancement of Science. It's a really big scientific NGO in United States. They have really nice relations with all the governmental offices. And then also this is a smaller NGO, National Science Policy Network. This is a United American scale level of a science and policy network where all the scientists, if you're interested in the policy, you can gather there. It's a very new network, I would say. But again, what science equipped me, it's transferable still. And then again, once you are familiar with the policy language, it is very easy, I shouldn't say easy, it's feasible to make strong universal argument with science. And you can be a science advisor or policymakers future for yourself. And I gave you an example beforehand. It's about me helping the Africa group, the G77 draft text for just transition topic. And lastly, why science is so important in climate change itself, because there are many current issues that is happening in the world, not only climate change, but like for example, COVID-19 and other issues. These issues, they are very complex, and then they are transboundary. When I say transboundary, that means it is across the national border. So when the factor is complex and transboundary, there are more and more people that realize that actually science and statistics can be a very good tool to start to solve these problems. Okay, so now we go to intergenerational equity and just transition. So the first bullet point tells you I took it from Wiki. It's the intergenerational equity. What does that mean? My understanding is, in different generations, in the future, past, present, future, we preserve the right to share, to deserve the same kind of resources. I have the right, like, remember the photo I showed you before? Those 2007 generation, they deserve to eat big fish compared to the people from 50 years ago. And then if you look at the right, these actually can go into more stuff. We talk about inequality and what is equality and what is equity and what is justice. This actually means a little bit different. If you look on the top right, that's inequality. Let's think about a tree as a system. And then the tree is bended, the system is bended. And then we have two people, two little cute guys, and then only one person get the apple. When we have equality, that means the system is still bended, but you give the two people the same amount of leather. But the person on the right-hand side still wasn't able to get the fruit. When we have equality, it means that you give customized help to that person. Remember the customized help that kind of reflect the common but differentiated responsibility, CBDR, in the Paris Agreement. So that means equality. When we have justice, that means we want to fix the system. So my point of view from science is, again, if we want to achieve intergenerational equity, you need to have just transition to move forward, and actually science support that. If you look at IPCC synthetic report, section 4, just transition is talking about not only a transition in energy, but a transformation of multi-sector, and it's a holistic approach. We talk about energy, we talk about societal changes, we talk about social protection, social dialogues, and all these. And most importantly, just transition means you have to do mitigation and adaptation at the same time. If you don't do it at the same time, this is not going to be effective. So if we want to solve climate change in a more effective, affordable, sustainable way that aligns with the SDGs, you have to follow just transition, which is adaptation and mitigation at the same time. This is what I'm trying to spread to people over here, to policymakers over here. Okay, how corporates can contribute to intergenerational equities? Definitely we need to have social dialogues. Definitely we need to have collaborations with science organization or university. We have paid internship or project. That's a good start. Also, business, maybe they usually set more of a short-term goals, but if we can let corporate develop more, like long-term goal that is more sustainable and aligned with Paris Agreement and also the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, this will be better. This will be achieving the intergenerational equality on the social, environment, and also economic aspect. And then the fourth point on the management system, maybe we can ask the corporate, don't authorize employees to exploit the resources, or no unreasonable demand to impose on the present generation to cater for undetermined future needs. Okay, and then the next one, it is maybe hard to predict the future, but always maybe for corporate, we suggest that a precautionary approach taking into account the foreseeable situations. This will help align with the Paris Agreement, sustainable development, and then also reaching the intergenerational equity. Lastly, definitely equal opportunity across all age groups. Do I have time? Okay, I think these are the questions that a corporate or business can consider when we are trying to reach intergenerational equity. And I'm going to just leave it there. We can discuss this at the Q&A section. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, for pointing out the importance of science education in youth empowerment, and also emphasizing again the importance of just transition and clarifying the concept of equality, equity, and justice. It's very insightful. And next, but last but not least, we will invite Chi Ming Peng from Taiwan Climate Partnership. He is the CEO or Secretary General of Taiwan Climate Partnership, from which is the 8 leading tech companies, the collaboration between 8 leading companies in Taiwan to form this collaboration. And he has been the Secretary General since 2021. He is not only the Secretary General, but he's also a college professor, weather presenter, host, and Taiwan or International Open Data disaster prevention promoter. And he is dedicated in promoting weather, climate change, environmental prevention, open data, and related topics. So we'll invite Chi Ming Peng to provide some examples of how business leaders can do to support young generation in climate change.
Thank you, moderator, and welcome all of you behalf the TCP. It's our first pavilion. Not mature, not very wonderful, but we are step by step to go this, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Not only the money, but also there were lots of difficulties. And I will talk about issues. Let me introduce myself. Data background. Actually, I'm a meteorologist. I background from the weather department, and when I was young, I'm opinionable, lots of opinion, student leader, and I have an independent thought for everything. And however, I found I should take care of my career. So when I get ready to graduate school, so I changed my mind to work very hard for my career life. So, but I still know the young generation. So my life is just like a slash life. Lots of the background, weather, media, such things, and I still have some research job teaching the student, because I think the contact with the young generation is very important to me. And just I know the enterprise, like everyone else, are also impacted by the climate change. So it's always the same. So the enterprise, the company you show is about 90 companies. They're all impacted by the climate change. For example, the cost will increase or something. And however, by my point of view, youth is speed. Speed is the future. So we should work with the young generation together. How to overcome the gap is very, very important for us to do. And I will show 2 cases for you. The first case is because I'm a meteorologist, but the weather department, the undergraduate student, they don't know the climate change. They just want to do this very scientific study. So my company sponsor the hackathon, because I know that although they are weather department, but they don't care about the climate change. So I pay the money, sponsor, organize with some of the meteorology department. I let them know data, AI, climate change is the future. So we should organize together. So we spend lots of about 5 months to accomplish that. For example, this one is the Earth Day. We should have a training course, lecture, and keynote lecture, maybe 1 day or 2 days. And later on, we will have some kind of contest. We call hackathon contest. The topic is net zero. So we work, I already have 2 years work together. And for example, this is the Earth Day. What we did, for example, net zero, what is net zero? And just like in the COP, but we summarize in 1 day for the young generation. And in the beginning, only the meteorology department, but this year is totally open to the public. And so they got a prize, and we sponsor all the money for this. And the second is the TCP, Taiwan Climate Partnership, is from the 8 leading company together. And because they have a very huge supply chain. So they are the leading role to organize the supply chain. So in the beginning, only one company, they are RE100. But when the big boss getting together, they got the pressure. And for example, the TSMC is the first one company of the ICT industry. They got RE100, 100% use renewable energy. However, the other, for example, Delta is quite good. Oh, why we are so late? So later on, they are in 1 year, lots of company become the RE100. And what we did, the most important thing related to the young generation is the Taiwan Climate Institute. Actually, before this, we already working with the National Tsinghua University. We have a carbon assets course. It's a kind of the carbon assets because the enterprise, they should notice about the carbon assets. Assets means not only the carbon reduction, but you will treat it assets, what they can do, what's the trend in the future. So we have a course in nature with the national, just like a master degree course about this one. After that, we think we can do it more. So we organize together the chief sustainable officer, their team, the CSO, they will go to the university to teach the student. So we have the course for this. So we launched this in this June. And later on, we work with the 3 university together. And that means the CSO can go to the university to be their professor. Because sometimes I think the climate change issue, the professor is not so familiar with the real climate change, the real carbon market. Only the chief sustainable officer, they notice about that. So it's a good exchange about this. We also work with the Taiwan AI school, academic school. And that school is not a real school. It's just like voluntarily organized to teach everybody know the AI to be the programmer. So already trained about 10,000 AI students. If you can know the AI, you can have a high pay, something about this. So we work with them. That's why we say green plus cross digital. So our theme of this pavilion is a green and a digital. That's why we have this. So this year, because we focus not only the carbon reduction, sometimes we'll say if you do not have a real goal, it will be a kind of greenwashing. So our job is to avoid the greenwashing. Sometimes the greenwashing is the lower level, for example, ESG, TCFD, because sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm wonderful enough." Blah, 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 blah. However, the most important thing is the green power, energy stability, carbon market, climate finance, climate tech. Climate tech is the future, but the ecosystem is not mature here. However, in UFCCC, I don't think the climate tech also is mature enough. And so the most important thing is the industry innovation. For example, some of our company, Delta Electronic, they are totally different every year because the innovation of the green. So that's why we work together to be a kind of teamwork. And so that's why I mentioned the data, digital, and green. So the different background, they have different background. What we need, it should be some overlap about this. So I think the future student, future young generation should know each other. So what I think is we should make this such a kind of platform for the young generation. For example, this is the meaning means because digital cross green, there were lots of meaning about this. For example, ESG transformation, something. We need the digital cross green. And we start from the COP, it's now this year. Actually, it starts from COP26 in Glasgow. We have a press conference to mention about this. So this year we have 27 side events and 120 speakers. And today we have more speakers. And I think it's quite good. In the future, if we have a pavilion, we would like to provide the young generation. You can have your own pavilion with us in the future. If we got the pavilion, it's not easy to get a pavilion. So we will try to do this. And however, no greenwashing. This is our president, chairman. She always push us. No greenwashing, not to pay money to get a COP here. So it's our criteria about this one. Based on the COP27 in the United Nations, they have the criteria for the enterprise. You cannot go greenwashing. And for example, this year we work. This is our opening, and lots of the CEO come here, and all the CSO, the Japan from the European Union. For example, let's show you just here. Lots of people here, and this is RE100. and we stand together. And from Microsoft and also the JCLP, the ladies from the JCLP, Japan Climate Leader Partnership, is almost the same with us. So, and then also the right one is the EGDC. EGDC, a European Green Digital Coalition. So Asia, we have Taiwan, Japan, and also Europe. We will combine together probably next year. We want to do more. For example, our TCP is only the ICT industry, but the JCLP cover lots of industry. For example, construction, power, Nikon, different, totally different. They have lots of the organization, almost 250 organizations to do this. So they have lots of activity. So I believe from the enterprise view, every young generation will go to the enterprise or somewhere. So I believe how to make a good bridge to allow the passionate young people to engage, to help them. The career development is very important. However, right now, I don't think it's good enough. For example, our enterprise want to provide the intern or any kind of job, part-time job to you. But however, it's not so easy to make a kind of bridge. So what I think is creating an ecosystem rather than a single event. Sometimes we will get the invitation, oh, Dr. Peng, can you give me sponsor something for that? But by my point of view, to make an ecosystem to help the young generation for the long term is not short term, is very important. So how we think we should make this in the future. We hope we can go together, work with TWIC or work with you in the future. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chi-Ming Peng, for giving us an insightful presentation on your point of view and some concrete examples of how cooperation can include young people's voices. And now we'll go into a Q&A session, and I would like to ask the speakers to go on the front of the seats. So here is. So we'll start with the audience. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Do I have any audience? Okay. So I'll ask the question for young youth speakers. As a young advocate, how do you envision the future of the relationship between business leaders or policymakers and the younger generation in driving sustainable and impactful climate solution? So imagine a future where the points that you've talked about are realized, and what would it be, the future, in your point of view?
Okay, thank you. I think my vision about next generation and leader and youth, I think I maybe imagine the future that we don't make a difference between a leader and the youth, right? We considerate youth in any decision making or any policy making or any policy design. When we must to take one decision, for example, not just the CEO of his organization only who can take a decision about all people or about all youth in this organization. It's very important to try to hear the voice of each people who is been of this organization before taking action, for example. And about climate action, I think is very important to involve the youth engagement, to involve the young awareness, to train the youth about all components about climate change and climate issue. And that is my vision or my opinion about the future of youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela.
Okay, I can go next quickly. So I think for from what I'm seeing at the policy makers this world, I see in recent years we have more and more young negotiators going in and then representing countries and then negotiate on behalf of that countries. For example, my friend she's only 22 years old, and I met another person who is also 22 years old. It's just there's a lot of young negotiators in recent years. And then the second thing is I think for negotiation process, we can certainly incorporate youth voices. For example, young girl, we need to, like on the just transition topic, for example, we have negotiations that is open for observers to speak, to intervene. So I think that's a good sign to start.
Thank you.
I think my answer is a little bit similar to Jerome. Jerome. Okay. Like I feel like I'm kind of an ideal person. Like, for example, our society will hope it to be like democracy, right? We hope to have democracy society. But I feel like also in economy can also be democracy. It's also have democracy inside. For example, like for those it should all the money shouldn't be all like handled by the CEO or the how to say
Head.
Yeah, the head of the company. It should be shared by people. That's the people, the workers that really devote themselves inside the company to share all those money. That will make more sense. And also there also appear to have some economy system that is more like sharings. I think this is like the ideal society that I would like to have, that's have the company inside.
Mm.
Yes.
Thank you, young speakers. And
old speaker. Actually, you know, my role from young, lots of opinionable student leader to become an entrepreneur. Actually, I think the entrepreneur to set up the company actually is from when I was young. I have lots of training. I joined some lots of activity. But during 20 years ago, more than 40 years ago, there's 30 years ago, do not have a climate change issue like this. What we know is downstairs to see the ozone hole, Montreal Protocol. Yeah, it's very old, about more than 30 years. And what I think is for the young generation, before that, when I was young, my dream is to become a negotiator. When I was young, just the age with you. It's my 11th COP. In the beginning, when I went to the COP 18, in year 2000, COP 18, 1A. And my thinking is I want to be the negotiator, sit in the table to negotiate with the others. You want to be?
Yes, I still want to be.
Okay. But you know, my nationality is impossible. So I changed my goal. But I know lots of the trick, some of younger, very good young generation, they went to some politician's office. They would be good to do that. So I think two ways. The one way is to go to the climate change job, some green job. All of this is growing up very quickly. I think it's good. And another way is to go to the political fields to influence politics.
I feel like for Taiwanese people, it's a little bit sad because of our nationality. But I think in recent years, it's changing. Like there are more young people. Like, for example, my friend, she's from Poland, but she is negotiating on behalf of Liberia. So there are actually a lot of smaller countries, not like United States so big. They don't have enough man capacity. So if you you're so credential, you have a lot of credential, you can talk to like different countries and then ask them whether they can give you a party badge, and then you can help them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I have another way to go.
yeah, you can start.
When he will be the minister in the future too.
I think the Minister of Benin come at every COP with the head of delegation who every time being at the room of negotiating with our youth delegates to learn more and to have a practical action about how to negotiate each aspect of climate change. Maybe adaptation, maybe loss and damage, and maybe mitigation, and so forth and so on. But for me, it's very important to me also to have one big training about the climate negotiation and how to be the negotiator. It's not just to come to COP and be a side event, try to learn and make more partnership is not all, but try to be in the realistic point how to negotiate our future.
Actually, now you know if your country, if you need some negotiator help, definitely let us know. We have some good negotiators over here, and then also I heard about a program. It's called Young Negotiator Program. Yeah, they are giving negotiation training for different countries. The most successful case is Dominican Republic. Yeah, you can apply for that, your country.
So we can try to discuss about it after this session to know how more collaborate to be part of this program, for example.
Hey, yeah. Thank you for sharing about the negotiation, the dream of a negotiator, and some resources on that. But by having to include youth voices in policy making processes and the examples that Chi Ming Peng raised on like making hackathons, collaboration with universities. But I would like to ask, what are some challenges that you can face when you try to align the strategies with meeting the demands of young generation and including them? Like, what are some challenges that you think you are experiencing?
The first things I say, money is not problem. Money, yeah. But sometimes young generation, some of them, money, you just give me $1,000. It's not enough. It should be $10,000. They think they worth it. So sometimes they hope the price will big price, a big 10,000 US dollars. They want more. Sometimes, but most of them will think it's a kind of a training. And the second thing is right now the transformation is so quick, and the university, the professor in their traditional course cannot follow the trend so quickly. So I found the gap between the gap, especially in the climate change field, compared to the real world here, is totally different. University professor is very far behind. So I found the student they need to learn somewhere. Yeah, but the universities cannot meet the needs at all. So that's why we found. So when I found the young generation, what they think is very, very narrow, very, very narrow. But climate change is just like an elephant, huge super elephant. What you can get is very limited. You cannot do anything. Mm-hmm. So right now, but it will be better and better. For example, this year we have some young generation team. They are not only one field. They will cover some marketing, coding, legal, they will organize together. And but also another question is right now, if you want to do the climate change things, it's not only small things. You should have a big things. So the gap will be very huge until now. So that's the challenge. Because every year the climate change things always changeable. So most of them they cannot cover. So from the university it's not good enough, and from the society change so quickly. So what I found, we also thinking what's the topic we should choose. We will go back to the technical competition training, or go to the negotiation level. So we cannot convert it until now. So probably next year we can work with the tweak to give us some idea about that. Maybe you organize that for us, because my companies, my colleagues, they are not professional they do not have enough time to have a hackathon. Probably you can do this in the future.
Yeah, and I think this challenge can be an opportunity for youth to help to be included into like helping corporation, because this is climate change issue is too broad and too fast, unexpected. So we need to include youth, and you can help. And maybe another solution might be like to have more international collaboration, maybe with Benin, with Taiwan, with other countries, so that we can share the resources on climate change education. Yeah. Are there any other points that youth speakers would like to raise, that the challenges that businesses might face, or when wanting to include youth voices? Okay, then are there any other questions from the audience? Okay, no? Then let's, okay.
I have a question for Dr.
Timing.
Qing Kong. Like there's sometimes like there's a voice called the degrowth or beyond growth that start to happen in the society, that we shouldn't like chase after the GDP. We shouldn't chase like there's to accumulate as many as the profits as we can, because like there's never ended. And like as long as there's more production, there's going to be more suffering for the nature and all those resources. So like, do you think it's possible that the companies start to accept this idea of degrowth or beyond growth? Yes.
There were two parts. One is for the government point of view. I work with some very thoughtful people, and we suggest in the future we should have a green growth, green GDP. It's not traditional GDP; it's a green GDP, because green GDP can account lots of things. It's government point of view. It should change. And the second is the enterprise. For example, some of the enterprise you show the founding members. The Delta right now, you can say it's a green company now. And the AUO, they are traditional solar panel, display panel company. And right now their green parts is about 15%, 15% last year. And they hope they can have a transition. So that's why their CEO come here to know, okay, to know the real is real or not real. So they want to touch this feeling. And the others, for example, the Lion, they have IOE Energy. They are traditional keyboard, mouse company supplied of the notebook. But right now they have the IOE. And the Acer, right now they are not notebook, only notebook. They have a kind of the smart city and also living or parking. So every company right now, also the Pegatron is a major supply chain of Tesla. ASUS, they are the first net zero notebook already. So such is kind of the transformation. Not only the revenue only had already happened in some of the leading company right now. But I don't think. But I, be honest, not every company. It is the follower. They also got the pressure. So, but there were some first mover already to did this, but still we should make an ecosystem like this. So the young generation, by my point of view, you should make an ecosystem, eco voice. In the future, in your career path, you can go to the company to help them to do this. But right now, but before that, you should understand the bridge and to make a good ecosystem in the future. So that's why I would like to discuss with you, maybe make a good ecosystem in the future. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions among speakers, between speakers? No. Okay, then I'll make the closing remarks. So I think this session is very insightful. Not only we talked about the importance of climate education, and in the education, we also need the trainings for scientific point of view, scientific diplomacy approach. And we also have to create an ecosystem that Jimmy Pong just mentioned that can bridge the youth and the corporate together to make this greener transition have more inclusion on youth. And not only that, we also need to avoid youth washing in corporations. It is not just a symbolic of we having a seat at the table, but we also really have a chance to influence. We're not only on the menu, but we're on the seat on the table. And so business leaders need young people, and young people also need business leaders. So this is the session for generational equity through youth lens and corporate responsibility. Thank you all for attending. Thank you.